Oh, hold up! I've forgotten how to use a mic because I've been fucking AWOL. No, I'm joking. All right, it's a joke. Calm down. Hope you're all well, guys. I know I've been away, and to cut a long story short, things are just a little bit hectic at the moment. There's a lot going on. And as such, I haven't been able to make as much content as I perhaps would want to do. But regardless, I'm hoping to get back onto things, and I thought for the first video to bring back to MZK, you know, for my little return of the Danif the second or whatever, I would do a This Week in No Man's Sky, since it has basically been a week since the last one was uploaded. So, in case you guys are unfamiliar with what this series is all about, it is basically a weekly series, sometimes weekly, sometimes not, where I talk about the week's events in the No Man's Sky community or in No Man's Sky as a game. Oh, fucking hell. Now, as you can tell, I'm quite rusty, and as you can tell, this is extremely unprofessional, and that is the point of this series. I spend a lot of time editing audio and making fancy Gaussian blurs and shit like that when I do my videos, so this series has absolutely zero editing, you know, auditory and visual, to give you a much more human kind of feel where, yeah, I'll fuck up and I'll burp and I'll make weird noises and stuff like that. And hopefully it's a bit more relaxing to listen to, and something which you can put in the background while you, I don't know, play a game, or I don't know, just chill out. It's kind of like a podcast, I guess you could say. So, for today's episode of This Week in No Man's Sky, I want to talk about something which has actually happened this week, and that is to do with Sean Murray. Now, talking about Sean Murray on This Week in No Man's Sky isn't anything new, because realistically, No Man's Sky doesn't have a lot of stuff which happens weekly, so more often than not, I end up just talking about Sean, or talking about myself, or talking about Beyond, or something like that. However, instead of just going on about how Sean is, you know, Sean, and there's obviously something behind it, and he's got all this planned, and all of this, you know, complete and utterless, you know, bollocks speculation, we actually do have something which is fairly decent to talk about, and that is the fact that Sean has been very active on Twitter recently, and there have also been a few strange tweets and photos which don't exactly make a great deal of sense, one of which is one which included the word city. So, if we start from the beginning, so obviously if you follow Hello Games and you follow No Man's Sky, then you know that Hello Games and Sean Murray on Twitter are very, very quiet. Now, ever since the next update release for No Man's Sky, Sean Murray had been extremely vocal. You know, he had been putting out all of these articles about what they're working on, stuff which the community are liking, and things like that. They were extremely talkative for a large amount of time, and eventually this communication did kind of cease as they began developing other updates. Now, even while Abyss and Visions was being developed, Hello Games still spoke a load more. It's more when Visions came out and they started to work on Beyond a lot more, they went extremely quiet. Now, back in the day, around the next kind of era of Hello Games and No Man's Sky, one of the biggest things which Sean Murray liked to do was basically put screenshots onto Twitter and let people know that he's seeing their fan art as such. This was a really unique thing which, to be honest, not a lot of developers do, at least not to the extent that Sean does. And he had this period of time where he was just constantly putting photos from Reddit, from Instagram, Facebook, or what have you, and crediting the people which basically took the photos. Now, this, bearing in mind, was when Next was kind of fresh, so this was nearly a year ago, and obviously since then the communication went silent for an extremely long time. This is before we knew what Beyond was, this is before we knew if we were even getting an update. But now, in the modern day, Sean Murray is starting to do the exact same thing. The exact same thing which he did when Visions was first released. He is posting an absolute fuckload of screenshots from Reddit mainly onto his Twitter and crediting users. Now, I know I've mentioned this in probably a previous video before, but the one thing which people will obviously want to know to do with this is Does this mean anything? Does this mean that Beyond is finished? Does this mean that Hello Games are taking a break or whatever? Now, I can't give you an answer because obviously, even though I am Sir Danif II, I am not all-powerful and omnibenevolent and omnipresent and omnipotent. I don't know everything, and if I were to give my opinion on what this activity means in terms of Beyond, it would not be fact, obviously. It would just be one man's opinion. But if you are so desperate for an opinion, and maybe if you just wanted a different insight into what this all could mean, personally, I don't really think it means anything. Now, hear me out on this. Yes, there is a possibility that because Sean is tweeting a load of screenshots that he's trying to maybe build up a little bit of hype, maybe give us like a glance at what the game will look like for the last time, basically, before Beyond comes out. Yes, that is definitely a possibility, although I don't really think it's a likely one. What I think is way more likely, in terms of why Sean is putting these screenshots out, or even why it's happening in the first place, is just because it's very simple. Posting a screenshot from Reddit, posting a screenshot from Reddit onto your Twitter feed does not take time. This is something which you can do in literally 30 seconds. And I think that Sean and Hello Games are probably aware that we're extremely hungry for news, since we still haven't got the third component of Beyond. So he's thinking that by putting a couple screenshots on Twitter, it will basically, I don't know, let us know that they're still alive, let us know that they still care, something like that. I really don't think that posting screenshots on your Twitter means anything. I don't think this is any kind of, confirmation, or this is any kind of hint that Beyond is going to drop soon. I literally think it's to do with PR. I think it's quite simply to do with Hello Games wanting to just please the community and to make sure like there isn't just radio silence. Because think about it this way. If Hello Games, particularly Sean Murray, had not posted any of these screenshots, the closest resemblance to No Man's Sky in terms of their Twitter account would, I don't even know what that would be. There wouldn't be anything, because half the time Hello Games and Sean Murray just reply to random tweets with random responses and things like that. So I think without these screenshots, things would be very dry, and I think we would kind of fall back into that radio silence period that we had around the launch of the game before Foundation dropped. So, in my humble opinion, I don't think that screenshots mean anything. I literally think it's to keep the community happy and to prevent us from having a riot and doing a whole say hello thing once again. Part 3 of Beyond will come in its own time, and I don't think that Reddit screenshots are hinting at a certain time or a date or just a period where this is going to happen. As I said a million times already, I think it is quite simply PR. Now, linking towards this, one big thing which happened on Twitter, I think it was a couple days ago now, was actually a tweet that Sean Murray did. Now, this tweet, when I saw it, was very nostalgic for me, because it reminded me of a tweet that he did, I think in something like December of 2017 or something crazy like that, which prompted me to make a speculation video, which got absolutely fucking slammed. But basically, the story goes, and I don't know the full details because it's quite confusing, but essentially, I saw on Twitter that there is some kind of console that is going to be bringing old games to this platform, so you can play them on like a little handheld or something like that. So Hello Games replied to this article, basically giving their list of games which they would like to see on this platform. And then Sean Murray replied to Hello Games with an emoji and the word city. Now, as this is so fucking stupid, as you can imagine, anyone who even has the slightest relation to Hello Games or Sean Murray that tweets the word city with little to no context, or not obvious context, not like, this is what it means, this is very upfront, is obviously going to be treated like some kind of hint or some kind of teaser or something like that. So as you can imagine, when Sean Murray had this emoji, which was basically like a clamp or a vice, and then tweeted City afterwards, people didn't initially understand what it meant, and a lot of people instantly clocked, and it took me ages to work it out, but a lot of people were thinking that this was something relating to No Man's Sky somehow, to Beyond. This is what happens when we have zero actual information. Anyway, what the emoji was a vice, or it was a clamp. So if you put the 2 and 2 together, you have Vice City, as in GTA Vice City, a game which Sean Murray wants on this console. It was fuck all to do with No Man's Sky, it was fuck all to do with Beyond, it was literally just something that was taken completely out of context because of how crazy people are with cities in No Man's Sky, and things just kind of got a bit hectic. As you can imagine, all the replies were like, oh my god, it's happening, cities, it's happening. No, it's not, alright, it's not, okay. Now, my good friend, the Procedural Traveller, made a speculation video about this tweet. This was before he clocked that it was basically Vice City and not something to do with No Man's Sky, and this is how it makes me nostalgic, because this whole Vice City tweet is the modern day equivalent of the prawn curry tweet from, I think it was December 2017. If you guys remember back all that way, Sean Murray, in the midst of waiting for, I think it might have been Atlas Rises, he basically posted on his Twitter a simple tweet that said prawn curry and nothing else. Now at the time I was like, fucking hell, that's it, that's a video right there. But what I didn't realise is obviously prawn curry is a rhyme with Sean Murray, and it's like a meme and whatever. But anyway, I didn't get that, so I basically made this wham speculation video talking about how prawns obviously live in water, so maybe it's a water update, and then a curry is usually like a combination of spices and herbs and meat and all of this stuff. Anyway, it was a really messy video, but the point is, this whole Vice City business just really reminds me of the prawn curry tweet. It was such a classic, honestly. Okay, so now that I've spoken really about the kind of news, I guess you could say, to do with Sean Murray tweeting and the whole City debate and all of that stuff, I want to give my my 2 cents on this whole situation, basically. So, in my honest opinion, I strongly believe that what Hello Games are doing at the moment, as in they are revealing little parts of Beyond, mainly, you know, part 1, part 2 of Beyond, but they are building up hype and anticipation for the final part. Now, I actually think this is a very good idea for a number of different reasons. First of all, it ensures that they don't talk about something which isn't finished, isn't ready, they're not happy with, so it's not going to be a replica of the E3 fiasco. Second of all, as I said, it builds a lot of anticipation and it keeps a lot of people happy. Bearing in mind, if Sean Murray would have gone, right boys, third part of Beyond is a big variety update, and if he would have said that in, let's say, I don't know, March of 2019, and then immediately after said, right, that's the 3 parts of Beyond. Beyond is releasing August 12th, 2019. We're gonna have fucking 5 or 6 months to wait until summer, fully knowing what this update is basically focused on, but without actually being able to play the update. So this is where the smartness, I think, really comes in, because Sean probably knows that if we find out about the third part, there is a chance that the hype could indeed die down, that people might actually kind of forget because they know everything now, and the wait will seem extra long and people will probably get more impatient. So by keeping the third part a secret, this ensures this doesn't happen, but then also builds anticipation and ensures they can perfect everything. So that is my take on why we haven't heard yet from the third part. I strongly believe that part 3 is done, or at the very least it's nearing completion, and Hello Games are simply holding off saying what this third part is until they can basically drop the update. If I want to, you know, go for an absolutely crazy gut feeling, my gut feeling is that we are going to be getting Beyond in June. And my gut feeling is that we might get the third part of Beyond in, what date is it today? In the next week, I would say. It's the 26th of May as of recording. So I strongly believe that as soon as we get the third part of Beyond, the update will probably drop a few days later, maybe a week later. Remember that when we got the last bit of news for Next, where we basically got, you know, what it's all about, it was like this big paragraph and whatever, it said the exact release date when it was going to launch, and I think this was something like a day or two after the article coming out. So I really do think this will happen with Beyond, and that would also explain why we have yet to hear from the third part of the update. So yes, it's frustrating. Yes, I understand it can be bad for hype. It can be bad for people getting their expectations too high, or maybe just losing interest with No Man's Sky with the lack of communication. But think about it in terms of a developer perspective. It gives them quiet time. They don't exactly have a deadline to meet apart from summer, which is a very, very vague term. And ultimately it keeps people interested and excited about the game, knowing that there is a mysterious part which is yet to be unearthed. So really, if you're getting frustrated at the lack of information, which yes I am, only because I have no content to make, but as a, you know, just as a player, if you're frustrated with the fact that you can't know what this update is about, then just play another game. I think I said this in another episode of This Week in No Man's Sky. You don't have to have the game revolve around your life, you know? You can do so much more. And if you keep yourself busy with something that isn't No Man's Sky, chances are time will fly by, and before you know it, you are going to be basically just enjoying Beyond, and that's all you need to know. So guys, I really think that is just about all I have to say for this video. I do hope that you guys enjoyed. As always, if you did enjoy, then please do feel free to leave a like on it. And if you guys could also subscribe to MZK, then that'd be absolutely fantastic. And as always, I will see you guys on my next video. This is SkintBoot, signing out.